The Heat take on the Pistons, 6 o'clock Eastern start time. Miami's minus 7.5, totals 209. We are 6-0 with a push in our last $7, $1.99 daily best plays on brockpage.com. And if you want to see which one of these free YouTube picks on my channel that I'm actually betting on personally, there's only one way to do that, and that's to sign up for a membership on my website at brockpage.com. And the good news is, if you want to access today's $1.99 daily best play, it's only going to cost you just $1.99. And the link for that pick is in the description section below. But despite their 4-1 record in their last 5, the Heat's going to work here tonight without Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. Both players are out with injuries. Hero and Garrett are both still questionable as well. The Heat's in the bottom 10 in second quarter scoring, and that's when they're mostly healthy. They're also in the bottom 10 in fourth quarter scoring on the road. They're taking on a Detroit team who covered in 5 out of their last 9 ball games, throwing out that Houston contest. The Pistons are also in the top 10 in fewest second quarter points allowed at home. Now, scoring-wise, Cade Cunningham is scoring over 16 points a game, 6 rebounds, 4 assists for the guard. Meanwhile, Saddiq Bey is scoring over a dozen points a night himself, 5 rebounds, 2.5 assists for Bey. Detroit successfully covered the point spread in 6 out of their last 10 meetings with the Heat. When it comes to the injury report, Jeremy Grant and Kelly Olynyk, they're both still out for Detroit. The Pistons' last 3 straight got over the posted number, 6-1 to the over in their last 7. Meanwhile, the Heat went 11-7 to the over when traveling. I'm going to lean toward Detroit plus 7.5 over 209. Next game, Spurs, Kings, 6 o'clock Eastern tip-off. San Antonio's minus 4. Total is 227.5. The Spurs won 6 out of their last 10 ball games. They successfully covered the number in 70% of those contests. The Spurs have also done a pretty nice job of covering the point spread on the road. They're 62% against the number when traveling this season. The Spurs are holding their opponents to just 105 points per contest away from home. When it comes to the scoring in this one, DeJounte Murray is averaging over 17.5 points a game, 8 boards, 8.5 assists for the point guard. Meanwhile, Keldon Johnson is knocking down nearly 47% of his three-pointers, 15 points a night for Keldon. San Antonio is in the top 5 in the NBA in offensive field goal percentage. They're taking on a Sacramento team who's just riddled with disease right now. Len, Fox, Bagley, Davis, King, and Mitchell, they're out for tonight's contest. And even when they're mostly healthy, the Kings are winning only 40% of their home games this year. Now, equally as bad, Sacramento successfully covered the point spread in just 6 out of 15 contests at the Golden One Center. Sacramento's allowing nearly 115 points per contest, and they're currently in the bottom 5 in the NBA in defensive rebounding per game. They also failed to cover the point spread in 4 out of their last 5 outings. Now, when it comes to the total in this one, the Kings are 10-5 to the under on their home court. San Antonio, on the other side, they are 10-3 to the under when traveling. I'm going to lean toward the San Antonio Spurs minus 4, under 227.5. Next matchup I have for you, it is going to be Blazers versus the Grizzlies, 6 o'clock East. Memphis is minus 5 in this matchup, totals 219.5. The Memphis Grizzlies are on a 5-game winning streak. They also went 9-1 straight up in their last 10. The Grizzlies currently lead the entire NBA in offensive rebounding per contest. The Grizzlies are also in the top 3 in offensive points per game, doing a terrific job scoring, with the basketball. Dylan Brooks is dropping over 18.5 points per contest, 3 rebounds, 2 assists for Brooks. Meanwhile, Jaren Jackson is averaging over 16.5 points a game himself, along with 5 boards. The Grizzlies are in the top 5 in the NBA in offensive field goal percentage at home. And of course, like I said just a few moments ago, these guys are doing a great job getting points on the board. Now, defensively, on the other end of the court, Memphis is in the top 5 in defensive rebounding. So doing a great job under the boards on the defensive end of the court. Now, they're taking on a Portland club who's gotten the W in just 1 out of 12 road games. Clear-cut worst road team in the NBA. Now, Portland's also dead last in the association in guarding the 3-ball. Their opponents are hitting a bunch of 3-pointers against them. They're also dead last in defensive field goal percentage on the road as well. When it comes to the injury report, CJ McCollum is still out, and definitely Zeller and Smith are questionable. It's tough for the Blazers because it always seems like either Dame or CJ, they're never on the court, at the same time. They're always injured. Now, total-wise, 3 out of Portland's last 4 ball games got over the posted number. Meanwhile, Memphis went 3-1 to the over in their last 4, 11-6 to the over at the FedEx Forum. I'm going to lean toward Memphis -5, over 219.5. Next contest, it is going to be Pelicans, Sixers, 7 o'clock Eastern start time. Philadelphia is -6. Total is 212.5. But despite being favored in this one, Philly's got a whole bunch of guys on the injury report right now. That's kind of the theme here in the NBA right now. But anyway, it's Korkmaz, Niang, and Springer. They're out. Not going to see them in action here tonight. Meanwhile, Green, Embiid, and Maxey, they are listed as questionable. Philadelphia's currently got themselves a losing record at the Wells Fargo Center. Certainly not indicative of years past. Typically, that was the only place where Philadelphia could win at home. But anyway, once again, they have a losing record at the Wells Fargo Center. They're also covering the number in just 4 out of 13 home games. They're taking on a Pelicans team who won 3 out of their last 4 themselves. Top 5 in the NBA in offensive rebounding. Brandon Ingram is dropping over 23 points a game, 6 rebounds, 4 assists for the forward. Meanwhile, Jonas Valanciunas is scoring nearly 19 points a night himself, 11 boards, 2.5 assists for the big man. Now, Jonas is also drilling 47% of his three-pointers when he actually shoots them. He doesn't pull the trigger all that much. He's actually shooting just around 3 three-pointers a game, if that. But when he actually takes a shot, he's been doing a pretty good job of making those long balls. Now, defensively, the Pelicans are in the top 10 in defensive rebounding as well. So as bad as they've been this year, there are a couple bright spots. Now, total-wise, the Pelicans are 11-6 to the under when traveling. Philadelphia is 9-4 to the under in front of their home crowd. I'm going to lean toward the Pelicans +6, under 212.5. Next matchup, Cavaliers versus the Hawks, 7:30 Eastern tip-off. Atlanta's -3.5, totals 214. Now, unfortunately, the Hawks are going to have to go to work here tonight without Trae Young. He's got the vid. Keep an eye on him. These protocols, they last differently for different players. I know Joel Embiid, he was out for like 3 years with COVID. So keep an eye on Trae. Not going to see him tonight. He's in the health and safety protocols. Meanwhile, Bogdan Bogdanovic, he's also questionable. He's battling an ankle injury. The Hawks currently have a losing record against the spread at home. And they're in the bottom 10 in points allowed per contest in front of their home fans. Having some struggles here at the State Farm Arena. The Hawks are also in the bottom 10 in home defensive field goal percentage as well. They're taking on a Cleveland squad who won their last 6 straight. And they successfully covered the point spread in their last 14 straight as well. This is a team that you don't see a lot of media talking about much, but this team has been a cash cow with regard to the betting industry. Cleveland's currently 13-2 against the spread when traveling this year, 26-5 against the number overall for the entire season. That's absolutely unheard of. This is the best covering team in professional sports. Darius Garland is scoring nearly 20 points a game, 3 rebounds, 7 assists for Garland. Darius is also drilling nearly 40% of his three-pointers. Meanwhile, Jared Allen is averaging over 16.5 points per contest himself, 10 rebounds, couple assists for Allen. The Cavs are in the top 5 in offensive field goal percentage on the road. They're also holding their opponents to just 101 points a game. That's really the strength of this Cleveland team, is their defensive play. Now, injury-wise, Okoro and Mobley, they have the virus. When it comes to the number in this one, Cleveland's 4-0 to the under in their last 4 straight. 20-11 to the under for the entire season. I'm going to lean toward Cleveland plus 3.5, under 214. Next ball game, it is going to be Nuggets versus the Nets, 7:30 Eastern start time. Denver's -9, totals 217. The Nuggets won 3 out of their last 4 ball games. First in the NBA in offensive field goal percentage on the road. Nikola Jokic is averaging over 26 points per contest, 13 boards, 7 assists for the Joker. This guy's been unbelievably consistent over the years. Meanwhile, Will Barton is scoring over 15.5 points a game himself, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. The Nuggets are also in the top 10 in shooting the 3-ball on the road. They're taking on a Brooklyn team who's getting absolutely wiped out by the virus. Aldridge, Durant, Harden, Johnson, Bembry, Carter, Brown, and Claxton. They are all in health and safety protocols. And I'll tell you what, even when they are healthy and they've got most of their pieces on the court, the Nets have done a poor job of covering the point spread at the Barclays Center. They're just 4-12 against the spread in Brooklyn. Certainly not getting the job done against the number in front of their home fans. And oddly enough, as good as they are offensively, the Nets are shooting just 32% from beyond the arc in their own building. Now, total-wise, when it comes to the scoring in this one, the Nets are 10-6 to the under in Brooklyn. They also went 6-3 to the under in their last 9 outings at any location. I'm going to go ahead and lean toward the road team in this one. Give me Denver -9, under 217. Next contest, it is going to be Hornets versus the Suns. 8 o'clock Eastern tip-off. Phoenix is -7.5, totals 230. The Suns won 8 out of their last 10 ball games, 13-2 straight up on their home court. This is arguably the best team in basketball right now. Phoenix is currently in the top 3 in defensive field goal percentage, and they're allowing only 102 points per contest at home. Now, when it comes to putting points up on the board, DeAndre Ayton is averaging over 16.5 points a game, along with 11 boards. Meanwhile, Chris Paul is averaging 14.5 points per contest himself, along with 10 assists and a couple of steals. Now, the Phoenix Suns are currently in the top 3 in the NBA in offensive field goal percentage as well. No mistake here, no surprise. These guys can definitely light up that scoreboard offensively. Now, guys, great news. We also may see a Devin Booker sighting here tonight. He's been upgraded to questionable with that hammy. Looks like the rehab process is going very well for Devin. Like I said, might see him in limited minutes here tonight. Now, Phoenix is taking on a Charlotte team who lost 7 out of their last 10 ball games. The Hornets have gotten the W in just 8 out of 19 road games as well. And they allow more points per contest than any other team in the NBA. These guys have been horrible on the defensive end of the court. This could be very problematic going against the Suns team who loves to score. Now, total-wise, Charlotte's going 9-1 to the over in their last 10 ball games. No real surprise there. They're also 65% to the over for the entire season. Meanwhile, Phoenix saw their last 2 straight get over the posted number themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Phoenix Suns, -7.5, over 230. Next ball game, it is going to be Mavericks versus the Timberwolves, 8 o'clock Eastern start time. Minnesota's -3, totals 213. Now, Minnesota's on a 3-game winning streak. They're also in the top 10 in the NBA in guarding the 3-ball at home. Minnesota's giving up only 105 points a game at the Target Center. And they're also in the top 10 in defensive field goal percentage at home. But it's not just all defense. They do have, pieces on this team that has the ability to score. Of course, you got to mention Karl Anthony Towns, who's averaging 24 points per contest, 9 rebounds, 3 assists for Karl. Now, Towns is also drilling 42% of his three balls. A very good shooter from beyond the arc for such a big guy. But anyway, D'Angelo Russell, he's also averaging over 18.5 points per game himself. 4 rebounds, 6 assists for Russell. They're taking on a Dallas team who's going to work here without a bunch of their, key players. Luka Doncic is still out. Bullock, Cauley-Stein, Ntilikina, Green, and Omorie, they're all not playing as well. So pretty depleted here are these Dallas Mavericks. Now, the Mavs are scoring only 103 points per contest when traveling, and they're also making just 32% of their three-pointers. They certainly miss big Luka Doncic in the lineup. Now, total-wise, Dallas saw their last 8 straight all fall under the number. Certainly no surprise there, as these guys have struggled offensively this season. They're also 71% to the under for the entire year. Meanwhile, the Timberwolves are 11-6 to the under for the entire season themselves. I'm going to lean toward Minnesota, -3, under 213. And with that, guys, now it's time for our next and final matchup for the video. It is going to be Lakers versus the Bulls, 8 o'clock East. Chicago's -6, numbers 215.5. But despite being favored in this one, the Bulls still have a bunch of guys on that injury report. You got DeRozan, Johnson, Jones, White, and Green. They are all listed as questionable for tonight's action. Meanwhile, Levine, Brown, Thomas, and Dosunmu, they are out. You're not going to see those guys in action here today. And Chicago's really struggled to get rebounds offensively. They're in the bottom 5 in the NBA in that particular category. Meanwhile, defensively on the other end of the court, the Bulls are currently in the bottom 10 in guarding the 3-ball at home. Other teams having great success shooting the long ball against Chicago in the United Center. Now, they're taking on a Laker team who won 3 out of their last 4 themselves, and they do currently rank in the top 3 in offensive rebounding on the road. LeBron James is averaging over 25.5 points a night, 6 rebounds, 6 assists for LeBron. Meanwhile, Russell Westbrook, he's scoring nearly 20 points a game himself. Love him or hate him, he has a lot of critics, but he does, I get it, he turns the ball over, but he does score points. Once again, Westbrook averaging nearly 20 points a game, 7 rebounds, 8 assists for Russ. And when it comes to the defensive play here, the Lakers are in the top 3 in defensive field goal percentage on the road. Now, they're currently limiting their opponents to just 31% shooting from 3 land when they travel. When it comes to the injury report, Davis, Howard, Reeves, Monk, and Horton Tucker, you're not going to see them in action. All those players are out for Los Angeles. Now, when it comes to the total in this one, the Lakers recently saw contests with Detroit, Sacramento, and the Clippers get over the posted number. Meanwhile, Chicago on the other side, they actually saw 5 out of their last 9 get over the posted total themselves. I'm going to go ahead and lean toward the LA Lakers +6 and the over 215.5. And with that, guys, now it is time to jump into our quick pick recap. Powered to you by my website at brockpage.com, where we are currently 6-0 with a push in our last 7 $1.99 daily best plays. I'm going to lean toward Detroit plus 7.5 over 209. San Antonio minus 4 under 227.5. I like Memphis minus 5 over 219.5. New Orleans Pelicans plus 6 under 212 and a hook. Cleveland plus 3.5 under 214. Denver Nuggets minus 9 under 217. Phoenix minus 7.5 over 230. Minnesota minus 3 under 213. Before I give you my next and final free pick for the video, one final reminder that if you want to access today's $1.99 daily best play on BrockPage.com, the link for that pick is in the description section below. I'm going to lean toward the Lakers plus 6 over 215.5. And with that, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on BrockPage.com. If you guys do end up getting a membership here today on that website, just keep in mind you're going to get billed the day you sign up and then the first of every month following that. So if you do end up getting a membership here today on BrockPage.com, you're going to get access to that content all the way through the end of December. We also have a package called the board member tier. And just keep in mind, board members get access to every single pick that I give out on that website all the way through the end of December as well. The earlier in the month you sign up, the better. But most importantly, guys, got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. With that said, guys, happy Sunday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at BrockPage.com.